Hey guys, once again this is experiment time because I always eager to answer questions that no one cares about. So this time I got curious about each aspiration's love life because I love to let my Sims do whatever they want, whether it is woohooing the entire neighborhood or living their lives like a hermit, but I never really analyzed the progression of wants of the different type of Sims individually. So in this two-part series, I'm gonna take a closer look at each of the 6 aspirations to answer this burning question. So this is Rosalie, our pleasure sim, and these are her initial wants. Very responsible if you ask me. She just moved into this new town, so she wants to meet new Sims, get friends and a job. She would be happy either with the slacker or the entertainment career. Her lifetime want is to have 50 dream dates, but it doesn't really matter because there's no way we complete it in a week. She's not wasting time. Even before the neighbors arrived, she already met Jade and Jones online. After this, she kind of started to override my original interior design, but after spending enough money, she switched back to getting a job. As you can see, she's really interested in entertainment, so that's gonna be her choice without question. She already rolled the one to gain the necessary skill point for the promotion, which is surprisingly responsible for a pleasure sim in my opinion. I don't really choose this aspiration for my Sims as a primary one, so I always imagined it to be an endless loop of bowling and dating, but she's managing her life pretty well so far. The first visitors are here, but she can still go to work today, so I prioritize gaining a skill point, and after that, she can invite someone for an outing. Oh no, Clarence refused going on a date with her. Maybe it was a bit too early to ask, but she really wanted to try and she doesn't really know anyone else. So in desperation, she already rolled the one to buy a love potion. Maybe that will help next time. But the day is still not over because she was planning to go somewhere tonight, so there's still hope that she finds someone special on her first day at the nightclub. She ended up spending the night with Goopy Gilles Scarbo, am I saying this right? Who is very proactive at initiating interactions with her, so it seems like a good start to me. Our next subject is Mary the family sim. I'm not surprised at all seeing her initial wants. She already wants to find some flirtable sim. Is that even a word? Well, now it is. And besides of that, she wants to learn some basic skills to run the house more efficiently. But what's more interesting is that right after her first cooking skill point, she wants to get a job. Now, if you guys are watching the Parallel Life series, Yellow Molly is the perfect example of how Family Sim can live a lifetime without rolling this one, even with a secondary aspiration. So she's actually really interested in food and there's an opening job in the culinary career, so that will suit her perfectly. And there it is, let's find someone to flirt with and fall in love quickly. For example, Clarence is a perfect candidate. They have a 2-boat attraction level and they seem to get along quite nicely. By the way, it kinda looks like Mary had a stroke, but I hope she will be fine. So she keeps rolling friendly ones towards Clarence, which is great, but they won't make them fall in love miraculously. Later they decided to continue their little outing in the local park, where Mary simply couldn't resist starting a food fight, and I was not expecting this to be their thing, but it made them develop a crush on each other. Weird. Our last candidate for this episode is none less but a true romance sim, Nora, who wishes to become a professional party guest. And her initial social wants are somewhat similar to Mary's, find someone to flirt with, except that the final expected outcome is not a beautiful love story, just a woohoo partner. Okay, so the first town is arrived and it looks like we already have a match. They got along very well, but unfortunately once she realized he's totally not her type, she immediately rolled the one to talk with the other guy who came by, who is actually the digging guy from the digging challenge. Anyway, she's getting more and more desperate to have woohoo. Any word, just have it. The neighbor's visit was still going on when the phone rang and some unknown person invited her downtown. Who would say no to such an offer? But it turns out this whole invitation was a trap. Based on the group's average age, it looks like this woman just needed an extra hand to supervise these kids. However, I love how they were seated separately based on their age. I don't know if this is pure coincidence, but I love it. Also, who the heck eats a quarter of a cake for dinner? I want to be this girl. On the second day, Rosalie woke up with the want of giving another try of this whole dating thing. Let's see if Goopy is willing to meet her on a real date. Okay, he's in. They have a 2-boat attraction. Oh no, he's already afraid of marrying her. Dude, you just met her last night, give her a chance. What a judgmental guy. Anyway, let's take him dining, so maybe he changes his opinion after getting to know Rosalie better. Oh no, what a terrible day. You know what, let's just take a selfie and leave. Oh, Brandy Latourno and Joe Carr just started having a crush on each other. Why are these random townies more successful than her? She was trying so hard, but this date was doomed from the beginning. Oh, maybe it wasn't, they just felt awkward making it official. Okay, wait, there is this Jay's guy and after scoping the room, she wants to talk with him and eventually ask him on a date and flirt with him. It's a bit strange because it looks like she finds him very unattractive, so maybe she's only doing this to play around with Goopy and make him jealous? However, the game didn't turn out very well because he totally refused her invitation. At least Guppy got the message. On her second day, Mary can't wait to get to know Clarence better, so her first thing in the morning is to call him for a chat. Later, she was having dinner when Clarence just appeared out of the blue in front of her house. I mean, I don't mind it, but I was not expecting a visit from him so soon. Unfortunately, they couldn't spend much time together as this was Mary's first day at work, but still it was nice of him that he came by. While watching her favorite cooking show that night, she had a wonderful idea. Why not go with Michelle and Clarence on a mountain vacation as friends, and maybe this will help her create a real bond with him. On her first night shift, Nora was already promoted, and when she woke up from her sleep in the afternoon, her thoughts were to befriend Craig, her very first encounter, and also to organize a date, so why not ask him? Oh, what a terrible person. Well, let's just invite him over then. And believe it or not, befriending him was a really tedious process. They only became friends at 71, but totally worth it because now she wants to flirt with him. On the third day, Rosalie is planning to throw a sports party. And in case you wonder which sport it is going to be, well, so Guppy was invited, of course, and luckily he came. And thanks to ACR, we can do the woohoo without proper emotional bonds like a real pleasure sim would do. So I hope there's a high enough volume setting on that TV. Okay, I'm somewhat relieved that she did not get pregnant from the risky woohoo. The party was a huge success and now she actually has a power wand to complete 3 first dates. I mean, it's reasonable to look around carefully before you choose your partner for a lifetime. So I'm not sure who's gonna be the third one, but we can give another try to Jace. Maybe he already realized his mistake and will go out with her this time. Okay, so he came over but seems to be quite intrusive and you know what, forget about fancy words, he's acting like a prick. Needless to say, the date wasn't really successful and I can't blame Rosalie for wanting to go out and enjoy the night somewhere else without him. At the bowling alley, she met an elder guy called Clay and she decided to give him a chance as well. Unfortunately, she wasted her energies on Chase before, so now she couldn't really bring out the best from this one. Actually, she ended up being so tired that she wanted to stay home from work and we saw how interested she is in her job in general. Okay, so Mary and Clarence are not letting Michelle feel like the third wheel on the vacation at all. They are spending so much quality time together, but their relationship builds up terribly slowly. Or maybe I just have unrealistic expectations towards family sims, but I was completely sure that she would be married by now. New day, new attempt from Nora to invite Craig on a date. Now they are friends, she has a crush on him. I can't believe this guy. What does it take to agree? You know what? I bet he would not dare to refuse her face to face. So poor Nora ended up drinking alone in her backyard contemplating her life. But don't worry, she still has 4 days left to find at least someone to woohoo with. Another day, another date for Rosalie. It's halftime and she's still looking for the right partner. I'm not sure she's gonna make it. Also, she's kind of out of possibilities, so let's call the matchmaker to arrange her something. At least we tried that option as well. Oh no, it's Peter's Sims. Why does she have to be so unlucky? Okay, so they had a good chat and stuff, but after a certain point, Peter completely lost interest in her, and for Rosalie, the slow dance option disappeared from the menu, so she ended up with another mediocre date. However, everything happens for a reason, because while joining the darts game outside, she just met another guy and instantly rolled the dating wand, and he agreed on the first sight. So everything seems so perfectly destined, until I realized it's another romance sim whose first thought is not to ever marry her. The date turned out somewhat better than with Peter, but still wasn't a huge success. On Thursday, Mary and her friends were busy visiting the local market and other stuff, but no matter how hard she was trying, she still felt Clarence too distant to fall in love with him. On the fourth day, Nora decided to apply the trick I mentioned before. She invited Craig over and asked him on a date in person. And guess what? Interestingly, he was not brave enough to refuse her now, so the date started. And so this is where it gets tricky, because from this experiment's point of view, Nora has to roll the wand to get married to Craig, but as a romance sim, she's very much afraid of that possibility. But I've seen romance sims finding their true love before and actually rolling the wand to engage someone, so I don't think it's a lost cause, but also I don't expect too much from her. At least she could finally have her first woohoo on the couch. Furthermore, the date was so awesome she totally fell in love with him. Interesting how one-sided this relationship tends to be for her. She had a crush on him for like a day without him also having it, and now this one-sided love too. Craig is a knowledge sim, so maybe he's too smart to fall for a romance one. Rosalie slept through the entire morning, and after getting back from work on Friday, she decided to seek guidance in learning lifelong happiness. Maybe it will turn out better than drinking love potions? Who knows? On Friday morning, the ice finally broke between Mary and Clarence, so I thought that it's finished. She won, she will be married in like 5 more seconds. Well, I've never been so wrong. Clarence fell in love with her not long after, but no matter how hard I wanted her to try, she just wasn't ready. So the entire day passed, the vacation was coming to its end, and there were still no love in sight for my family sim. By Friday, Nora decided two things. One is that she doesn't want to get engaged with Craig, however she loves him, and second, she needs a new lover. So she invited Mitchell over to hook up with her, but not long after she got a call for another babysitting, and she just couldn't resist. This time they took the kids to the cinema when Nora came up with the idea of combining useful with pleasant and invite the other babysitter on a quick date while the kids were watching the movie. The date was going well on average when some smoking hot guy entered the scene and Nora couldn't resist inviting him as well. Rebound attraction and everything. Plus he's also a romance sim, so now they can be both terribly afraid of marrying each other. Oh no, where did she come from? Was she sitting here all along? Oh my god! She must be a really jealous type because they were not even in love. Despite of that, Nora and Phoenix ended up having a dream date and it looks like Nora can't wait to meet him again. But will she change her mind about the marriage? She still has 2 days. So with all her newly gathered wisdom, Rosalie is inviting Guppy over once again. I guess the secret she learned was to go on a date in your favorite PJs because Guppy just fell in love with her. Also, they both want to woohoo in the car. And you know what, this must have been a convincing woohoo because they both decided to get engaged after it. So romantic. Anyway, I realized he also has it as a fear currently, but let's be honest, it's not a common thing that a romance sim rolls it as a want, so I'm considering this consensual. Also, I feel the urge to do a surprise proposal. So she started out pretty unlucky, but learning lifelong happiness, which is completely irrelevant I guess, but a nice addition, helped her convince her romance sim to get engaged with her. But it is all useless if she never decides to marry him. But guess what, she just rolled it and also to organize a wedding party right after their date ended, so tomorrow is going to be a big day. I have to admit, I completely lost hope by Saturday morning concerning Mary and Clarence, but then the miracle happened. Clarence broke down her walls by kissing her hand like a real gentleman, and apparently that was the way to Mary's heart. But however sweet it is, it's completely useless without a marriage want. So I decided to use this opportunity to find inspiration in music, and it actually worked. A beautiful love song made her consider proposing to Clarence on Saturday morning. He happily accepts, and now nothing can stop them from throwing a big party and get married. Saturday morning starts for Nora with a long-awaited date with Phoenix. Currently she doesn't have the fear of getting engaged or marrying him, but that's not enough to win. She has to roll it as a want. By the time the date ended, she completely fell in love with him and decided to invite him into her famous love bed. I mean, that's already a privilege. Phoenix didn't even leave yet, but Nora already spotted someone on the street who she wants to date next. This is getting crazy and I'm already responsible for like half of it. Okay, so we reached the point where her fears are completely full with the marriage-related ones, and it looks like she couldn't even transition herself from the previous date to this one yet. So I remember this sign a couple of hours later when Phoenix called her on another date. But of course, she's going nowhere without rolling the fear of getting engaged first. It's the final day of the challenge for Rosalie, but she has probably nothing to worry about. Everyone she knows arrived and having a crazy party in front of the house, but the big question is whether Guppy will also agree on marrying her. It would be a shame being left at the altar when you were so close. Let's see. Okay, I had doubts, but he agreed. And honestly, I'm really surprised after this week with her because I was expecting more like a fun-oriented, childlike behavior, and it turned out that she had a very good balance between her career and private life. And I was definitely not expecting to convince a romance sim. So shout out for Rosalie for accomplishing this in almost less than 7 days. While getting the house in shape for the wedding ceremony, Mary also can't wait to have her first woohoo right after with Clarence. The wedding starts and they are so beautiful. So I have to admit I had this preconception about family sims that they jump into a marriage in no time, and I never actually realized before how long it takes them to develop a properly strong emotional bond with their partner to decide upon marrying them. So this was another interesting experience, at least for me. I'll just mention it, but at this point I guess no one will be surprised if I say that a baby is also on the way 5 minutes later. It's Sunday and so far Nora is our only sim who couldn't find a husband yet. Which is not surprising, just a fact. But we still have one day, one date, and a tiny bit of hope that some miracle happens and she rolls the engagement or the marriage want. They spent the entire day alternating between making out and woohooing in the car and then making out again, but that's it. Nothing happened at all. In conclusion, I feel like this aspiration was the most limited in every aspect. The family and pleasure seem so much more balanced with the occasional career-related ones and need of friendly interactions, while with Nora, we arrived at a pretty much constant state of let's woohoo more, but please don't make me marry anyone, with some occasional friendly ones. Anyway, next time we continue with spying on the other three: popularity, knowledge, and wealth aspirations. In advance, popularity and wealth seems reasonable, but I'm afraid our knowledge sim will end up being a bookworm for 7 days straight. Or maybe she will act just as surprisingly as goopy by marrying Rosalie in this episode. We will see that in a short time. Bye guys!